our lovely, lovely friend and servant, Sandra Tadros, who's here to talk about her new book, Embracing Abundance. The side conversation I was having with her is basically I've been dying to listen to this talk in every other church she's had this meeting, and every single time she's giving the talk, I end up finishing work late, and I get so upset that I have not attended this talk. So when I knew she was coming to Edge tonight, like our meeting, I was extremely excited. Yeah, I don't think I can say anything more. You're going to hear how amazing she is just based on her speaking alone. So
so
very
kind.
thankful to have you here. And without further ado.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's really nice to see you guys. I think of Edge as very dear to my heart, and I thought I was here not long ago, but I was just told it was actually July that I was here last time. So I'm really happy to be here. And as I was actually walking into the church, a really, really great thought occurred to me. It was actually my first talk. Some of the servants will remember. Probably in 2016, my grief was very fresh, and I was asked to give a talk on wellness because that's what I worked in. So I stumbled, I think some of you remember, right? I stumbled through this talk just, with God's grace about, a devotional I had read about living abundantly. And here we are. That talk here for Edge, 8 years later, was the inspiration for a book that's now, with God's grace only on Amazon and, in chapters this weekend and everywhere else. So God is really working through all of us, and I'm hoping to share and to learn from you and to connect. So that's the talk for today, Embracing Abundance, a journey to wholeness and wellness through faith and self-care. Our agenda today, we're going to do some icebreakers. You guys know I like really cheesy jokes and icebreakers every time. Helps us connect and bond and engage a bit more during the sessions. I'm going to tell you my personal journey from grief to grace. When your faith gets rocked, we're going to have a conversation together, a real conversation. So please leave any shyness at the door, right? All the things that we don't usually talk about in our culture, I'm hoping we'll feel comfortable, right? You don't have to share specific traumas, but the thought of things are hard. I'm anxious. I'm sad. Where is God? We're going to have all those conversations. Choosing to live abundantly. Wellness strategies where we're going to do 100 burpees together, like Coptic burpees, matanyas, and then breakout session. Everybody ready?
Let's do it.
I was trying to see who was listening. Some people didn't notice. Other people were like, let's go.
Ready?
The 100 burpees, the 100 burpees. Did you ever notice matanyas are kind of like Coptic burpees? A little bit? No, we're not going to actually do that today. But if you want to, we can after. So with the icebreakers, please look at these questions. I'm hoping every single person will go around real quick. You'll just say your name because I'd really like to get to know you, and you can answer any one of these questions. Sometimes people answer all four. Some people want to answer just one. If you are shy and you would rather not, you can just say your name so we know you. But the questions are, if you could have any superpower, no limits, what would it be? If you could eat one meal every day, what would it be? Hint, spoiler alert, that's mine, those little wara anabs. I would eat that daily, happily, but you can tell me yours. What do you think is the hardest thing to lose in life? And it doesn't have to be a physical thing, right? It can be emotional, it can be a relationship, whatever it is. And what cheers you up when you're feeling down? So which side wants to start? Show me the excitement, guys. So there's one hand up on this side and one hand up, and they're servants. They're, let's try again. All right, a little bit more excitement. Who wants to start? Same two hands. And a third one, my husband, who has to participate. And one more. Perfect. All right, we're going to start with this side. All right, do you want to start with us? Just your name, and if you're comfortable to do so, just answer any one of the questions.
Sam?
Louder, Sam.
Sam. A meal every day, that's a tough one. Every day, I guess it would be like a pizza, I guess.
Pizza every day for Sam. I like it. Thank you for sharing. And you?
George.
Hey, George.
Meals I would take wara
Where Anab, right? Where Anab hits. I'm with you. Hi, guys.
Sorry. I think I will answer like the superpower one.
Yeah?
So it's like flying.
Flying, amazing. Bishoy would fly. I like it.
Use a meal. Maybe the first person. Yeah, any movie.
Any movie. Arabic movies. Nice. I'm going to ask you for recommendations after. Fedi?
Hi, my name is Fatty. If I was to have one superpower, I'd probably want to know every single Bible verse.
Just like on tap. I like it. Next group, Nadine, and then going that way.
Okay, well, my name is Nadine. We picked the superpower question. It's flying, to be honest. I like to just to go through the clouds.
Flying, amazing.
Tony, superpower, flying at supersonic speed.
Flying and fast, right? Very cool.
Ilaria, and I would like to, the hardest thing to lose is peace.
Is peace. Very, very true. So everyone that's just coming in, we're just going around sharing our names, and if you want, just answering just a silly icebreaker so that we can connect.
Okay, my name is Tadros, and I'll pick what do you think the hardest thing to use in your life? Of course, a friend or
A friend? Yeah, thank you for sharing, Angie.
Agnes
Do you remember the questions? Yeah.
So my name is Marina, and what cheers me up, I guess, like some, my brother, making me laugh.
Amazing. Does he like cheesy jokes too? Yes. Introduce us. We can exchange jokes. And you? Hi.
Hi, I'm George. The superpower would be either reading minds or knowing the future.
Very cool.
The enemy will be state, and the hardest thing to lose, of course, peace of mind. What cheers me up is friend gathering or watching movies.
Watching movies. Amazing. And we'll start on this side.
I'm Clara. Superpower that I would love to have would be time travel. And the hardest thing.
Just asking, would you like to go forward or back or anywhere? Just curious. Backwards. All right.
And forward too.
But backwards mostly? Cool.
Hardest thing to lose would be obviously family, but like my dog.
Your dog.
Also, and what cheers me up would also be my dog.
Yeah, very cool.
Hi, I'm Catherine. Superpower, I would say teleportation would be very practical in life.
Very cool.
Yeah, especially in Canada. One thing that is hard to lose in life, I would say, peace of mind, definitely one. Overthinking, things like that.
Thank you for sharing.
Hi, my name is Kiro. I think if I had any superpower, it would probably be invisibility.
Invisibility?
I think the hardest thing to lose in life is probably family, health, and when I'm feeling down, the thing that always gives me is good weather.
Good weather. I feel like I'm solar powered also. Amazing.
Hi, my name is Tarat. I have an answer for each one. So I'm just
Hit it. Yeah. Run through them.
superpower would be teleportation 100%. So I can go see like family in Egypt, whatever. Teleportation 100%. Especially because you have friends and family around the world.
Yeah.
One meal every day for the rest of my life, sushi. What do you think, what do you think is the hardest thing to lose? A loved one. Loss of a loved one. Peace of mind I really agree with as well. Last but not least, what do you do when you're feeling down? I spend time with my family, friends, cats, and I call this girl. That's not her phone. That's not going to touch. That's what I do.
That's what you call. Amazing.
That's it.
Sorry, I'm losing my voice. But the hardest thing to lose is three things: peace, love, and family.
Peace, love, and family. Thank you for sharing. Health?
I would also be teleportation, especially in work, when you're ready in 5 seconds.
There you go. Hi.
My name is Yusuf.
Awesome. Hi, Yusuf.
Here.
Did you want to answer a question, Yusuf, or no? Yeah. Okay. Oh, they keep popping off. Sorry, Sam. So it was like favorite food, if you could eat something every day, superpower you would have if you could pick one, what the hardest thing to lose in life would be, and what cheers you up when you're feeling down. Yeah, okay.
It's all tough questions that.
Okay, no problem.
I was Andrew. I think very when I'm feeling down is watching a movie, especially watching renowned like Ramadan. I like there's a good Egyptian actor. His name is, I don't know if you guys know him. His name is Ahmed Al.
Do you watch him? Who else said they like Arabic movies? Do we like Ahmed Aouni? Yeah, some hands went up. Yep.
I said his name is Ahmed. His name is Ahmed Al. He's like my best Egyptian actor. Like the best movies ever to watch.
Nice. Thanks for sharing. There's a couple of people that came in late. Did you want to have a chance to just share your name? Answer any questions?
Sure. My name is Joe. I think my superpower of choice would probably be teleportation as well. Travel, see people. Favorite food or food that I eat every day. Sushi's not bad actually. I think I'm gonna steal your answer.
Pretty good.
Well. The other question was, what is the worst thing to lose? I think peace of mind, sanity, loved ones, those are all really good. So I'm gonna agree with you on that one. And the last question was, what the last question was?
Yeah, cheers you up when you're done.
Exercise, sports, stuff like that.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else? Everybody go? So you'll notice everyone's looking a little more connected. You know each other's names, you know a fun fact, right? So when I did training through CAMH for suicide prevention, this was probably the toughest training that our entire clinic did. It's a group called Assist, and what they do is they take phone calls when people are critically at risk of self-harm. So this is, the person on the bridge with pills like these. God bless these people. We should really pray for them, the people that work in these kind of services. So for us, I usually work in outpatient, but they wanted us to be trained in case we came in that situation. And so we had to do these really tough role plays, right? Where they're like, okay, and so the person's on the phone and they're like, I'm here, life's not worth living, and I've got this idea, I'm about to, an end of life is imminent. And so one of the things they tell us is, use their name, make sure, when people hear their name, they feel known, they feel seen, they feel heard, right? So using their name. And there was one other thing that they said was a very protective factor. Can anyone guess what it was? Kind of has to do with what we did today. One thing you're trying to suss out in this conversation.
I think feeling that you can relate to them in any capacity.
Some sort of connection, right? Absolutely. And so, tying off of that, it was community. Are they part of a community? So for example, you could say, so is there anywhere you go? And they might say, you know what? Edge. I go on Thursdays, and a couple of those guys know my name. They ask about me. We talk about teleportation. We talk about Arabic movies, right? They might say, I work out at Lifetime with Sandra, and I see her. I go to her classes. They might say, I meet with some friends at Tim Hortons, right? The idea was community, and we saw this during the pandemic more than ever, right? You saw people's health deteriorate, right? Everyone that works in healthcare, everything went south when we didn't have community. So even like a fun icebreaker like this, it just seems like, okay, now I know everybody's name and I know what they like to eat, but don't underestimate how your brain released oxytocin now and how you feel a bit more part of something, right? Because you know names, people know your names. So moving on to the slides. Do you want me to pull them up on my phone? Or it's okay? All right. Thank you. So I'm going to ask you a bit of questions on true, so it's just not going to cast? I'll shoot off here? Okay. I'm sorry, guys. I'll try to be entertaining. The slides really are pretty with little designs, but they're not linking right now. So I'm going to ask you about grief. Why? My entire story revolves around grief. And I'm going to tell you about that. But I want to first just test your knowledge. So you're going to do thumbs up if you think it's true, thumbs down if you think it's false. Ready? Ready?
Yes.
All right. So, first question. Grief is a sign of poor coping. If you're grieving, it's just because you're not handling it. Is that true or is that false? So lots of thumbs down. Correct. That is false. Grief is actually a very normal and healthy process of going through loss. I'll talk about when it gets complicated and what to look for. Grief only happens when someone dies. We only grieve death. Is that true or false? False. What else can we grieve? Opportunity, loss of anything, right? People can grieve the loss of their health, the loss of a relationship, the loss of a dream, right? The loss of really anything. And it's when that reality hits expectation, that grief can hit, and it can hit hard. So we're going to talk about the grief cycle. Is it true that grief follows very neat little cycle in perfect order? No, so that's false also. How about this one? Because this is a common cliche, you'll hear a lot. If you've lost something, time alone heals all wounds. Is that true or false? False. So if I'm stuck and I'm not doing the work to heal or to move forward, time can pass and pass and pass, and I can even be going backwards, not forwards, right? Grief is expressed only mentally. Is that true or false? False. So I'll tell you guys a true story. So many of you know my story. I'll share it really briefly, but I don't want to ugly cry tonight. I can chat with you after. But in summary, I was widowed when I was very young, and my kids were 2 and 4. It was awful. We both worked in healthcare. We didn't think it would happen. Everyone would come and pray and bring a shroud and say, la la, haykhif, hayba ahsan min al-awwal. And when they called the time of death over my late husband, I was so shocked and so mad at God. I was like, I've been a Sunday school teacher. We prayed. He does good work. We have young children. Like, you do miracles all the time. All the time. Now was the time you picked to not answer our miracle? We fasted. We prayed. We did everything. God, how could you? Anyhow, fast forward. That's not the whole point of this talk, but it's where you need to know the starting point was. Years, and I'm just like hustling through life. I'm working, going through rinse and repeat. From the outside, everything was great. The first person to notice that things weren't okay, I'm going to ask you multiple choice, and you can just guess. My doctor, my brother, or my hairdresser?
Your hairdresser.
My hairdresser. You all nailed it. Very good. Why? Now, that doesn't mean that, my doctor and my brother were amazing and loving and supporting me. But how did my hairdresser, who I see once every, I'm not going to tell you how often I touch up my grays, but let's just say once in a while. I see once in a while. How did he know?
I think with the people closest to us, whether it be a sibling or even a healthcare practitioner, they go through the motions of what to ask, or like they know you so well that they don't bother to dig deep. Whereas someone who maybe doesn't see you as often will realize that there is an issue with you, potentially just based on your demeanor alone.
For sure.
Trying to connect to you as well.
And they're more objective.
Yeah.
So Marette works in healthcare also. One of the cardinal rules is we can't treat our family. Why? You're not objective, right? You're very, very skewed. You want to think that everything's okay. You're not looking at them from, an outer lens, from emotional. But also, how did he know? He went to wash my hair out in the sink. Can you guess what happened?
Right.
He was like, Sandra, turned around my chair. What's going on? I was like, I'm fine. Everything's fine. And he was like, the evidence points to otherwise. Much later in my mental health training and all of the courses I've done, I have learned that our body physically is the dashboard for your mental health. So before your brain actually kicks in and says, hey, I'm not doing well, your body will tell you. So I work in a family health team. That means patients come, they sit in my office because their doctor sent them for a complex care case. And I'll say, how's everything going? But I'm great. I'm like, so what are we up to today? Well, I've been having these migraines and I'm not sleeping and my reflux is off the roof. And I'll say, so they'll dig a little deeper and they will be stressed. They will have some trauma. There will be something, but they haven't mentally caught it yet. But their brain, right, is sending signals. The amygdala is going danger, danger, danger. So it is not only mentally. I want you, if you don't remember anything from the talk today, I'll ask you to do a check of your body physically. Your strength training and you've got so much delayed onset muscle soreness. You're not sleeping, whatever's happening, your body could be telling you something's up, dig a little deeper. Deal? And last but not least, true or false, everyone will support you as long as it takes for you to heal. Is that true or false?
Hopefully true, but usually false.
So I'm going to say false, not because you don't have beautiful, supportive people all the time. People don't always know how, and it's not necessarily their job, right? Everyone's got their life and their thing. So people will check in on you a lot in the beginning when you're nice and numb, right? And then that wears off and you're like, where is everybody? So another kind of pearl, if you will, take with you, if you have a friend, you have a colleague, you have a family member that's going through something difficult, one of the best things you can do is just put like a reminder alert in your phone for like a monthly check-in, because you will get busy, you will forget, you know, and that person 6 months down the road might just need a text of like, hey, how are things going? And I kid you not, every time I have done this, there hasn't been one time that I've messaged someone to say like, hey, you've just been on my mind, are you okay? And they haven't said, oh my gosh, I really needed that, thank you. Has anyone experienced that before? I think they're like God winks, like God whispers to us when he wants us to do. Oh guys, I'm blocking the slides. I'm sorry, I didn't realize they were back on. Salmon, you're so polite. You're just watching me like, you probably wanted to say move. All right, so my journey, as I mentioned to you, I think the hard thing is you can be very naive. Like for me, I didn't believe that any outcome than the one I wanted. In my mind, I had this theory that, you know what, I'm God, I'm walking your path all my life, you're gonna take care of everything else, right? And has anyone ever felt that like subconsciously or no? Nobody? Nobody's ever had that thought? Amazing, because it's not quite true, but a lot of times, you know, we have to remember that God doesn't promise that there's not gonna be storms. Does he promise that? In anywhere did he say it's going to be dark chocolate and roses all the time? Nowhere in the Bible, right? But what does he say? Yes, it's a narrow gate, but he'll never leave us. And I kid you not, there were times I would listen to like a worship song of I Am Not Alone by Carrie Joby and just like feel Jesus there. And then there's, you know, with everything, no matter what hurdle you go through, there's things that are going to come up that are beyond your thought. I'll give you an example. How was I going to tell my 2- and 4-year-old that their dad died? Just imagine that. Do you know any 2- and 4-year-olds? Just think of any little people. Imagine saying something that's going to just rock their world forever, right? What do you say? And I remember, I really do believe in angels, and God had sent a social worker to speak with me, and she had given me some really great advice and, you know, how to do a viewing and what to say. It's never easy, but God, I do believe, will send us people to help us along the way. He sees what we don't see, and will send us. So I declare loud and proud that I'm standing in front of you today. This is my personal testimony only because of the grace of God. There is absolutely nothing fantastic about me as a human. Anything that you see, you'll enjoy my jokes though. I hope God doesn't mind. I'll take credit for my cheesy jokes, but everything else is due to God's grace, truly. And I hope you'll let him work in you, because really there's no living without him. So I really am just sharing this in the hopes that if anybody's struggling or has gone through a tough time, you can take one nugget here or there from someone that's been there. So, is loss and loneliness harmful? We all know it sucks. Nobody's going to argue, but I'm curious. Do you believe it to be physically harmful? True or false? True. Got one thumb up. Anybody else? What do you think? Hi, friend. Hello. How are you? True or false? Anybody else? So true. True. So it has been shown in actually research that loneliness can actually deteriorate your health. We saw it in the pandemic. Maret, will you agree? Is anybody else working in healthcare other than Maret and I? A few other people? How much did we see that, right? During the pandemic. There's a really nice lady that Fedi and I see regularly that we love very, very much. Nothing changed in her health status originally. She just, you know, was saying how much the isolation was affecting her. You know who I'm talking about? And we would see her from time to time, and she was physically deteriorating, like physically breaking down. And the only thing was, you know, the loneliness. So reach out to people, connect with people, even if you don't feel like it. Mother Teresa, who went everywhere. I remember once watching an interview, and they said to her, "What's the worst disease?" And like, I remember thinking like, you know, pertussis, typhoid, you know, I was thinking very, very technical, right? What she'd seen in Calcutta, and she was like, loneliness. Loneliness is the most devastating thing, so don't underestimate that loneliness. So one of my true and false questions to you guys was, you know, is the grief circle, so remember, what are the things that we can grieve? Tell me again. Opportunity, job loss, health, a dream, a person, right? So really, we can grieve anything. So Elizabeth Kubler-Ross identified the grief cycle that's been really, really helpful clinically for helping people process what normal grief is, like we talked about, right? Grief is normal. So there'll be some denial. What does denial look like? This didn't really happen, right? This isn't really happening. Anger can also be masked as anxiety. Depression, feeling sad, overwhelmed, distressed, bargaining, right? Trying to hope for another outcome. God, I will go to church. I'll fast every Wednesday and Friday, and I'll stop putting milk in my coffee if you'll just let this one thing happen, right? Or whatever you come up with that you're trying to bargain, right? And this is, and then of course I'm not suggesting that, but this is what sometimes the brain will default to. And then eventually acceptance. The one thing I'd like you to take away from this is that it is not cyclical. So if you're helping someone through grief, or you yourself are grieving, and you're like, well, you know, I'm sad again, and I thought I was okay, and you will go back and forth until coming through acceptance. Any questions so far? Has anyone seen this before? Yeah?
I have a question.
Yeah.
What if somebody, like, what if the grief cycle, somebody stayed in the depression for too long? Isn't that dangerous
Yes.
for the person?
Yeah, good question. So there is something called complicated grief. It's in the DSM-5 criteria, and you have to have a certain number of criteria, and I can pull them up after if you guys are interested, of things. So it's, you know, significant hopelessness after a certain period of time, significant decreased mood. If anyone here is a mental health coach, please chime in if you know them off the top of your head. But basically there's when they get stuck for sure, or there's like extreme like hopelessness, not able to engage in, you know, in life for sure. So at any point, seeing you know, a psychotherapist, social worker, you know, anyone that can support is definitely recommended, but especially if you're suspecting that someone's getting stuck in complicated grief. Definitely. And are those people gonna come up to you and say, hey, I'm having a hard time with my grief. Hey guys, can we hang out? I came for the fresh air bond. No, right? They're probably going to be withdrawn and isolated. So that point I made about, you know, put in your phone a reminder every 4 to 6 weeks to check in with someone who's struggling would be really great. So questioning the faith. I'm just curious, and there's no judgment here. Has anybody ever questioned their faith when they have struggled? Like, God, where are you? How did you let this happen? Few people? So I certainly did, yeah. And a lot of times that is a, you know, a very normal reaction. And I know sometimes we're shy, you know, to share, and that's okay. But, you know, the reminders is that God never leaves us, and God really can work everything out to your good, even if you don't see it. Like, God, how can this, you know, I have my friend's daughter was attacked physically, intimately, and it was, you know, they're God-fearing people, and it was the most tragic, devastating thing ever. And, you know, there was a lot of hurt, right? God, how could this have happened, right? You could have avoided this, you could have, and so on. Time has passed. With God's grace, you know, she is healed, and now she is in a position where she is supporting people who have gone through the same kind of trauma. And she is feeling her fulfillment, her calling, her healing, you know, that's her own journey. But all I'm saying is there are still fruits that can come out of anything. And he sees what you don't see. Has anybody ever had like a crush and then later down the road being like, oh, thank you for helping me dodge that bullet, God? Anybody? I see a few people looking at each other. That's awkward. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just gonna look up here now. But no bullets here. You are all gems, and you are someone's number one. But you know, I remember going through that, right, and thinking like, oh God, you know, it's up to you. But you know, if this is the person for me, and then later just being like, oh my gosh, right? And so remember, sometimes we're lucky that our eyes are opened, whether it's a job or a friendship or a partner, and sometimes it's not. But you've got to know that God really sees the whole picture, and not just in your timeline, but how it's going to affect the future generations, how your choice now, your job, whatever it is that you're praying for is going to have an impact moving forward. So it is normal, I think, to sometimes say, you know, God, where are you? You know, God, what happened? But just that reiteration, draw close to him, and he's always waiting to draw close to you. So this Bible verse, Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Jeremiah 29:11. Has anybody read Embracing Abundance? So I don't want to all right. So I won't totally spoil it, but one of the chapters is like dating and healing after. So this stud over there, Fadi and I, have Jeremiah 29:11 in our wedding bands. So it's, you know, a story of healing and reconnection moving forward. So that's a really special verse for me that always just reminded me, you know, God has plans for your future. Again, you know how we talked about the body's signs? What were they again? I talked about some of them. And these are the body's tells that the amygdala is flaring. Can you guys think of any? I mentioned one. I mentioned mine. What was mine?
Hair loss.
Hair loss. What else?
Weight loss or weight gain.
Weight loss or weight gain. Absolutely. And I'm going to come back and say an important point about that. What else?
Palpitations.
Which one? Palpitations. Absolutely. What else?
Anxiety.
Anxiety, for sure. Heartburn, insomnia, right? So these are all things you want to watch for. I'm just going to go back to the one about weight loss and weight gain. So recently, so some of you guys know I teach fitness at a gym not far from here. If you ever want to come as a guest, chat with me after or send me a message on Instagram. But one of the days I was saying something after a class, and I was saying, you know, it was the holidays, and I said, guys, please don't comment on anybody's weight. So gym culture is very much like, hey, looking good, been doing those squats, you know, looking jacked, looking this, looking that. People have, you know, a lot of comfort to comment on each other's bodies. But when I did a session with our dietitians on eating disorder prevention, they said that telling someone you lost, so not like Egyptians, right? They're always like, trenti, you know, shamelessly, right? You gained weight. But the reverse is harmful. And so again, a lot of times, how many times has a tunt come up to you, ladies? Just with a show of hands, how many times has a tunt come up to you and just shamelessly commented on chaseti, tchenti, like it was no problem, right? So a lot of hands. Why is, and a lot of them will say, no, but I told her she lost weight, that's a good thing. Does anybody know why that can be harmful?
Because it's kind of like implying that you didn't look good.
It's implying that you didn't look good for sure. And right, what if I was over-exercising? What if I'm, you know, exercising to the point of injury? What if I'm starving myself, right? And you've just reinforced that my only value and I only look good when I'm in this state, right? What have you unintentionally just done, right? You've processed it. So the moral of the story is please don't comment on anyone's weight. You know, good, bad, you know, you can say you look strong, I see how hard you're working. But yeah, because there's also unhealthy coping mechanisms. I exercised in the night, I swam in the day. It was the only way I could keep that hysterical feeling at bay. Right? So again, recognizing when you're overdoing something, having people that'll keep you accountable in your life. They're like, hey, slow down. Why don't we go for a walk? Why don't we go for a prayer? Why don't we, you know, have a tea? Substances. You know, I want to say 90% of the patients that I saw in the methadone clinic didn't just one day wake up and say, you know what? I think I want to start using drugs. I'm going to use those needles and start doing heroin. That's not how it happened. In some cases, it was legitimate pain, right? And then they didn't get tapered off properly. In a lot of cases, they have shared that they had traumas, they had, you know, different things, and they were just trying to escape the pain. So that's a really important thing to remember, right? That a lot of times these unhealthy coping mechanisms are coming from pain. So if you're noticing it, nobody's expecting you to be a mental health counselor and to charge in there and help. But you just saying like, hey, I'm worried about you, you know? That's like the third beer while we've been sitting here, you know? That's full bottle of wine. That's, you know, you're hitting the gym for the third time today. Is everything okay? I know someone that I can connect you with, right? Psychology Today. We have resources. Chat with me after. I have a team of dietitians and mental health counselors that I'm so happy to connect you with. And then the body keeps the score. We talked about it. Look for the physical signs first. That's your body sounding the alarm. You have an amygdala in your brain, and anytime it senses danger, it's like danger, 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 and deep breathing and things like that. Oh, here it is. I had it in my slide deck. Ilaria, you asked me about complicated grief. So this is it from the DSM-5 criteria. So basically, if anyone has more than 3 out of 8 of these, we're usually doing a referral that, you know, for them to speak to someone specialized that can help. So persistent and pervasive grief, right? So with also 3 of these: disbelief, intense emotional pain, identity confusion, avoiding places that are reminders, feeling numb, intense loneliness, feeling meaningless, and difficulty engaging in ongoing life. So again, we're not called to diagnose any of this, but to just recognize any of these and try to get them to someone who knows more than we do. So here's the turning point. Are you guys ready after all this naked for some like excitement? All right, so I was reading, oh my gosh, Sam, I'm so sorry, I broke it. Turning point, thank you. I got excited and I raised my arms, forgive me. So I was reading a devotional. Does anyone here read devotionals? One person? Two? Three? Okay, so you can find them on the Bible plan, you can sign up for them, they're amazing. So this devotional actually saved my life. It came in my mailbox, Proverbs 31 Ministries. It's a women's ministry. Anyone know why it's called Proverbs 31? Because that's in the Bible where they talk about a virtuous woman. That's what they named their ministry. And it was this lady, Tracy Miles, and she talked about her, the breakdown of her marriage and how, devastated she was. And she came to this point, and I quote it better in my book, like I have the whole thing, but basically to summarize, she says something like, I decided I could let the anger and the bitterness and that kind of consume me, or I could choose to live abundantly, right? So, and she highlighted this verse, and that was my first talk for Edge, maybe 8 years ago on this journey here, remember? John 10:10. I have come that they may, and now I know how to put pictures on my slides. I don't think I had slide pictures, so you guys are getting like the souped up version, the hydraulics. I have come that they may have life and they may live abundantly, right? So Jesus, he said that about you, about all of us, right? He didn't say like, I came down on earth so that you could live your mediocre, struggling through life. He came so that you can live abundantly. Like he wants you to experience joy and life to the fullness. And so I think that it's important to know that you have to choose that. You have to make a conscious choice and say, okay, God, I want to live. I want to use the gifts you gave me. I want to enjoy, this world of yours to my fullest, right? I'm going to work on my nutrition because that affects my gut health, affects my mental health. I'm going to work on my physical strength. I'm going to pray. I'm going to just surround myself with people. So that was the turning point for me. I spoke to you about the wisdom of the social worker and the power of prayer. So feeling supported and carried by God, you can still feel mad and hurt. God is very loving, and I would sometimes pray with boogers and everything, like, I'm so mad, but please help me, right? And so, God, just remember that he has that plan for you and that, you are his. So anytime we're in a world of hashtags and likes and selfies and validation and swipes and matchmaking, that it's sometimes easy to lose track of yourself. But if you ask yourself 2 questions, who am I and whose am I? You'll never go wrong. Who am I? You're a child of God. Whose are you? You belong to Jesus. That's it. That's it. It's not your profession. It's not your number of followers on whatever. It's really just that, right? You belong to God and you're there. So if you had to describe yourself in one word, and remember guys, is everybody here Egyptian? Mostly? Like 3/4? So how do you get introduced when you go somewhere? This is my son, he's engineer, right? This is my daughter, she's cook, So how could you describe yourself without your schooling, your profession? Anybody? Anyone want to take this challenge? Just describe yourself. Who are you? Nobody say I'm a pharmacist. Right, John? Right? So who are you? Can anybody tell me who they are? I just gave you a big hint with the 2 questions you can ask yourself. Yes! That's my buddy, and he's a child of God, right? So just remember who you are and whose you are. So just on the whole piece of the wellness, gratitude. So here's another true and false question for you. Thumbs up true, thumbs down false. Can gratitude rewire your brain? In the study of neuroplasticity, can just being thankful, can that wire your brain? We got a thumbs up here. Yes? What about everybody else? Or did you just fall asleep? No, you guys are with me? All right. So yes, Emmons and McCullough did a really groundbreaking study about gratitude, and they found the people that listed 3 things they were grateful for every day, and the 3 people that listed, 3 things that annoyed them that day, they did their PHQ-9 and their GAD scores after a period of time. They did quantitative assessments, and not surprisingly, the people who had gratitude were significantly having a better outlook in life. They reported more satisfaction in life and they were happy. So that brings me to this verse in Thessalonians: rejoice always, pray without what? In everything?
Give thanks.
For this is the will of Jesus for you, right? So it's pretty simple. It's not a complicated formula. You don't have to change your tire or your oil change. He's just saying rejoice always, pray without stopping, and be thankful. And has anyone been to Arrowland First Nations? Anybody else here? So this is a mission trip that I had the blessing of doing with my family last year, and it really changed my life. I didn't shower for a week. I slept on an air mattress. It was rough in every way physically. And I went, running the adult program, excited to share everything that I was going to share for their learning. Well, guess what? I learned so much more. And people who've been to Bolivia and Congo, and all of these mission trips will tell you, you come back changed, and you learn there. So this is the school. This is called the Johnny Thoreau School. This is 4 hours north of Thunder Bay. And these are people, when you sit, but we do sensitivity training here with Abuna Makari. If anyone's interested, they do the Arrowland trip twice a year to the First Nations. It's beautiful. One of the sensitivity training courses is understanding about, what happened, right? So the indigenous, the schools, everything that happened. A lot of these people, you will meet the most beautiful people, and a lot of them have had trauma, right? Someone who has committed suicide, a lot of mental health, a lot of substance abuse, right? But the most joyful people, this one school, I think is it the only school? I think so. And we take off our shoes. You have to bring indoor shoes, and they treat it with so much love and so much respect, right? And they're so grateful for this school, this place, to play ball and to do things with outside. And, how do we treat our schools here? Right? Our everything, every facility, our churches, right? I haven't seen a building so, so cared for, so cherished. And it was just that gratitude that they carried with everywhere. These are the people that I look forward to see every year and learn so much. So happiness, it's not having what you want, but it really is appreciating everything you have. So I invite you today, when you're leaving, be like, I love this Orban. I love this jacket. I love these people. Look at all the people I would time travel with if I could and watch Arabic movies with. So really appreciating everything that's here. Gratitude sounds great. Everybody knows. How can you cultivate it? So a gratitude journal is a really great way. 3 things that you're grateful for, like in the study, you can even say them. Mentally thanking someone, writing a thank you note. So gratitude makes sense of our past, brings peace for today, and creates a vision for tomorrow. So who said that losing your peace was one of the worst things? I think 2 or 3 people said it on this side, right? So that's perfect. Gratitude brings peace for today, right? Like when you are grateful, it is hard to lose your peace. Sometimes you have to dig really, really hard. Exercise. Who's going to come train with me? I tell you guys every time, and everyone's like, we're going to come to Lifetime. Nobody comes. Marat, I'm going to hold you to it. Anybody else? Valeria.
Edge class.
Huh? We can? Oh. I could see if we could rent one of the studios. I'll ask. Because I couldn't.
Takes over Lifetime.
I like it. Exercise. So exercise I'm a really big fan of for many reasons. So there isn't a disease condition that is not helped by exercise, right? Blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes, anxiety, depression, insomnia, reduces your cortisol, increases your endorphins, improves your mental health scores, boosts self-esteem, releases restless energy, strength, cardio, and flexibility, and dynamic and status stretching. Do you guys know, did I tell you about Cardi B last time? Yeah, you know the Cardi B, the artist? It's Cardi. No? Did I tell you how she comes to my classes at Lifetime?
No way.
And every time we're on the treadmill, every time we come on the treadmill, she's like, Sandra, don't call me Cardi B, Coach Sandra. Call me cardio. I'm doing my cardio. I'm just kidding. She doesn't do that. But that was your joke for today. I promise no. Oh, no, there's more. I'm sorry. I do have more. I lied. I'm sorry. Nutrition is very important. Your gut-brain connection. So your next true and false question, does what you eat affect your dopamine levels, your serotonin levels? A little more enthusiasm, guys. Yes?
Yes.
Yes. So here's your fun fact. So serotonin and dopamine, the brain chemicals that affect mood and well-being, guess where they're made?
In the gut.
In the gut, in the endocrine cells of the gut. So if you are caring for your gut health, if you are eating probiotic and prebiotic foods, like what? Hit me with some names. What are prebiotic and probiotic foods?
Yogurt.
Yogurt. Any yogurt? It has to have the, yeah, exactly. Activia is a good one. You'll have to see that it's probiotic specifically. Kefir is fermented yogurt. Sauerkraut. Miso. Kombucha. Kimchi. None of the Egyptian foods. None of the Egyptian foods. Koshari is definitely not gut friendly. But basically, if you look at, the plate method, things that reduce inflammation, fruits, veggies, nuts, basically things that are in, one of the talks I do for the city of Mississauga is about cutting down sugar. And one of the things we learn to read labels, and I'll bring like healthy blue menu packaged cereals. And I'm like, is this healthy? And everyone's like, yeah, it says fiber, and it says this, and it says that. And we turn and we flip the label, right? And there's sugar, and there's this many ingredients, and all kinds of things. So eating things out of the package is ideal. Being mindful when you're eating. So one of the things our dietitians tell people try to never eat while you're scrolling, while you're watching TV. Why? Why? Yeah, you're not listening to your hunger cues, right? You're not listening to your hunger cues. You're not experiencing food as an experience, and drinking water. 3 to 6 liters a day, roughly 30 milliliters per kilogram of body weight. So for everyone, it's usually a couple of liters. And then the one other thing I'll just mention on this, you'll see a balanced plate. If you look at the Canada's Food Guide, there's recipes. I even had a gentleman who was vegan and Indian, and his wife had passed away at one of these sessions, and he said, is the Canada's Food Guide going to be all like Canadian food? And we looked up and we actually found like 2 of those menus. So even if you like ethnic food, it's not, you can check out the menus there. But a plate should look like this. This is a healthy plate based on Health Canada. So half of it is what? Green leafy vegetables. 1/4 is lean protein, and the other quarter is complex carbohydrate. Is it macarona bechamel? It's probably more like brown rice, bulgur, quinoa, couscous. Yeah.
Make it
Siami friendly would be like lentils, brown rice, that kind of thing. Tofu, tempeh, edamame are really high in protein, and then whatever greens. Protein powder I use sometimes. I'll have a shake during Siam with almond milk too, just to keep the protein up.
Out of curiosity, I heard soy is really bad for both men and women.
In high doses, for sure, right? So again, you're not going to be having it every day, right? So the idea is that soy can be estrogenic in certain doses. As far as like the Health Canada warnings and everything like that, there's no ban on it. It's something that you can incorporate, but just like with egg yolks, right, how they can eventually lead to high cholesterol, we're not telling people not to eat eggs, we're just saying do it in moderation. But if anyone has any medical conditions, as always, please check with your nutritionist, your dietitian, your family doctor. Good point.
I guess it's something like if you think like carrots, for example, like beta carotene in the carrots is great for you, but if you're eating like an enormous amount of carrots, you're going to turn orange.
Totally. And that happened when I was a baby. I liked carrots so much, and I was my parents' first child, and the bottom of my feet turned orange, like bright orange, and they like rushed me to the doctor, and he was like, does she eat a lot of carrots? And they were like, yeah. He's like, that's it, yeah. And that's exactly it. That was a lot of beta carotene. And then I had a lady in one of our sessions, and I was like, this was like a rookie move of mine. I was like, hey, do you eat a lot of carrots too? And she was like, no, why? And then like my colleague that was co-facilitating, she's like, it's from the tanning beds. And I was like, so I just stood there awkwardly, not able to retract it. I was like, no, I was just asking. Everybody likes carrots. Do you like carrots too? Do you like carrots too? So I haven't made that mistake since. Sleep is very important. I think I've given full sessions at SMSV and maybe here too on sleep. Really important. I'm not going to dwell on it, but really it affects everything, right? It affects your mental health. It affects your sugar cravings the next day, your gains. So set a fixed wake-up time every day, 7 days a week, even if you've had a late night, to reset the circadian rhythm. And the other number 1 tip is avoid something an hour before bed.
Caffeine. Oh, exercise.
Caffeine should actually be before noon. Yeah. Exercise should be within 3 hours before bed. Somebody's holding it up.
Screen time.
Your cell phone. Your cell phone. Why? And I have patients all the time when I see them in clinic for their insomnia. They'll be like, but what if I use blue light glasses? What if I have a blue light filter? The truth is, even with all these things, the blue light will go through your retina to the pineal gland and shut off your melatonin, really decreasing your quality of sleep. So electronics really should be avoided before bed, and nothing activating in bed. So the best scenario is to get in your jammies, brush your teeth, do your whole thing, and then sit outside of the bed doing something calming. Whether you like to flip through a magazine, listen to music, whatever it is, go to bed when sleeping. And then just the last couple of slides. So emotional resilience tools, right? So if you're hurting, you have gone through something, meditating. So a calm mind is powerful. Sleep functions, hydrate, reflect. Mindset, right? So CBT, manage your thoughts or they manage you. Emotional agility as well as deep breathing. Dating again, we can go through it a little bit, but it's not necessarily about just the dating, but reintegrating yourself into, going back on the job hunt, getting back to date after loss, whatever it is. Sometimes there's cultural expectations, and just really noting that you're coming from a place of when you are complete, you're not just trying to fill a hole. So exercise, faith, nutrition, gratitude, boundaries, social media, toxic relationships, work-life balance as well. And so that laugh therapy, I'm only going to tell you one of these Bible jokes. I'm going to scroll away so you can't see it. Are you guys ready? But you have to laugh loudly or my feelings will be hurt, even if you don't think that's funny. Is that a deal? It's late, I taught class today and then I worked all day. We good? We're going to laugh hard? Okay, right. I like it. I like it with the pre-laugh. All right. All right. So hold on, don't look. Everybody close your eyes for 1 second. I'm going to decide which one I want to do. Oh, okay. Who was the greatest financier in the Bible? Do you know it?
Was it Pharaoh's daughter because she went to the Nile and picked a prophet?
Oh, I don't know that one, but I like it. I'm going to add that. Please let me write that down. It was Noah because he was floating his stock while everybody else was liquidating. So only this side is getting Orban, guys, because they laughed. All right? Fine. Should we let them redeem themselves? One more. What kind of car? You know this one too? I feel like we need to talk after. You love these? Me too. They make my day. What kind of car did the disciples drive? Imagine they all packed in. Peter was driving. What kind of car? Yes, Kia, Subaru, what do you think? Guys, it's obviously a Honda because the Bible says they were of one accord. So they got, no, still no Orban for this side. All right. So laughter, you stimulate the vagus nerve, which helps you heal. Gut health we talked about, right? Having probiotic foods. There's one more place that activates the vagus nerve. Can anyone guess? The diaphragm. So deep and slow breathing. Inhaling through the nose while the belly rises. Exhaling through pursed lips, slowly and purposefully. Also resets your nervous system for fight or flight, to rest and digest. So words to live by. Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, when you face trials of many kind, because you know that testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking in anything. So whatever you're going through, beautiful friends, maybe you only know, maybe God only knows what you're sitting with heavy on your heart today, even though you're smiling and you're engaging. But know that truly God's got you. He can turn it into something beautiful. And I pray, and I will pray with you and pray over you, that you really do feel encouraged to embrace and to live fully and to take those steps to move forward. God can make beauty from the ashes. Hardship often prepares an ordinary person for an extraordinary destiny. So take heart. God will make something beautiful. So call to action. This is it. I like to always leave you guys on a call to action. We're going to break up in little groups, just where you guys are sitting. Maybe everybody in their row. You'll just get together for 2 minutes. I'm going to invite you together to say, what are 2 or more intentional actions you're going to take this week. And please don't all use the examples. It could be like pack a healthy lunch, buy some gut healthy foods, try to sleep better, exercise, whatever it is. So just for 2 minutes, and then there's Orban and fellowship, I'm told. So 2 minutes. Can you guys just turn to the people in your group, like where, in your row? Just kind of move together. You do. Tell me.
How does Moses like his coffee?
How does Moses like his coffee? I feel like this is going to be so good. Let me think.
So, I love you.
How does Moses like his coffee? How? She's already laughing.
16 hours.
Oh, that's so good. I've heard that too of who makes the coffee, the husband or the wife, and it says him in the book of Hebrews, right?
16 minutes.
I like that. That's so good.
That's not how that works.
Those are great. All right, you guys are gonna. When was tennis? When? Oh, you're not gonna just give it to me after work for it. Sorry, guys, help me. When was tennis first mentioned in the Bible? Tennis.
Joseph served on Pharaoh's courts.
Oh, I like it. I'm going to add those to the repertoire. All right. 2 minutes, team. Is everybody talking? You guys aren't talking. What happened to this row? You already done?
We're done, yeah.
Well, rock stars. Rock stars, okay. Everybody, you guys are all done? Are you guys pretending? No?
No.
We're in church. All right. How about you guys? Did everybody kind of chat?
Yeah.
Yeah? You guys just want the Orban, right? You're like, let's go, Sandra. We're done. I feel you. Okay. Back at it. To wrap up today, let's just get one recommendation from each row. All right, so we'll call you guys one row. One thing you guys are going to work on this week. Wait, can you guys hear them? Hold on, quiet, everybody.
Sleep, number one.
Sleep, number one. You guys are going to hit it this week. Amazing. This row.
I think it'll miss this row is.
Oh, all 3 rows. Okay. Next row. Which one?
Trying to find probiotic, but like Siami.
Probiotic Siami. Okay. So sauerkraut. Sauerkraut is a good one. It's like cabbage, fermented cabbage. It's not bad. Last row?
I think she had an answer.
All of the servants together didn't come up with one?
We said drink more water.
Drink more water. Okay, awesome. How about these guys here?
Cut coffee before noon.
Cut coffee before noon. I love it. All coffee should be done because the half-life of caffeine is about 20 hours, right? So it can really affect you if you're having a hard time sleeping. This row?
Oh.
I guess that's screen time.
That's screen time. Awesome. Next row?
More active and go to the gym.
Get to the gym. We're going to do the edge workout. We should do it in the parking lot one day.
I am so down.
Okay.
In the summer, I'm calling you.
Okay. No, I'm down. I think I spoke about it with Abuna Buttress before. But we would just have to do like dress code. Like, can we wear shorts or not shorts, no cuts? We'd have to like figure out some logistics. Back row? Screen time and sleeping. Amazing. I think that's all I have for you guys. Let me just check. Yes, so that's it. Closing thoughts. God is the giver and sustainer of hope. That's the book, Embracing Abundance. And there's the email and Instagram if you guys want to connect. So if you want any of the resources I've chatted about before, any of the sleep resources, health guide links, anything, you can email me or send me a message on Instagram. I actually have a couple of Siami recipes. I believe there's an overnight oats. So that's it. Does someone want to wrap up or take us some prayer or announcements?
Any comments?
Any lingering questions? I know you guys have asked questions throughout. Any additional questions? No? Thank you.
I can honestly say wholeheartedly, and I'm not just saying that.
Thank you.
Don't look forward to a speaker more